Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, artists, you name it, all around the world of crypto and blockchain. And today, I have an amazing guest. And I have an amazing guest because I know I spoke to him already at Consensus 2024, and unfortunately did not record then, but we are recording now. And I enjoyed my conversation the first time, and I'm certainly certain that this is going to be an awesome conversation as well. I'd like to introduce my guest today, who's the CEO and founder of Flock. His name is Jihao Sun. Jihao, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Thank you, Jamie, for having me again. And yeah, and say hi to all your audiences as well.
Thank you very much for joining me. And we'll start out with ask you first about your background. What is your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Oh, yeah. I actually start off in traditional AI industry doing application research. I was head of AI at one of the big names traditional financial institution. At the time, I actually figured that, especially in finance, data silo is actually a big thing. Like all the banks, they want to hold their own data, right? But in order to make a model that works good, an AI model that works well, right, you need to have enough data to actually train and learn from. But if you are creating silos between different banks or different containers, how can you actually make a unified great model? So I was thinking about this and then came up with the idea about Flock. Flock actually stands for Federated Learning plus Blockchain. So it's a way that can use federated learning, which is, many of the companies are already using today, like Google, Apple. They use it to train your typing habits, to predict your user behaviors on your own device without needing to take your data out, right? But it's like centralized control. You can't. I mean, you have to believe Google don't do evil, right? So that's why I want a blockchain to join this consensus mechanism, so we don't have to believe in any centralized third party. We just have this open protocol. Everyone can join the training. Everyone can commit their data, but they don't have to send their data anywhere out of their device. That's Flock. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Flock is all about. And federated learning. What is what are some examples of federated learning? What is that all about?
Yeah. As I just explained, right? The federated learning meaning it's a machine learning mechanism, but it makes the training nodes federated, meaning that they don't actually being gathered together. It's not like traditional ways. So in traditional ways, when we train a model, we actually need to get all the data from everywhere, right? Put them into one server and then train a huge model over those data. That's cool. That's traditional ways. But in order to make users' privacy more preserved, where there are so many different ways that people are trying to see if we can make that compute happen closer to the user. So by closer to user, maybe we can say on your own device or on your own maybe a server at home. But I doubt everyone will have that, right? But all this possible ways. That's our meaning of actually having a compute somewhere decentralized or somewhere federated everywhere in the world, but can still have a gathered or aggregated model. So it's a bit different from local model training, because if you talk about local model training, that means that you have a model, you train on your own data, and that's it. So for federated learning, it actually, yes, train some local model, but it will share the change of the model gradients and then to aggregate with others, so that actually we can benefit from crowdsourced data training, but still preserve your own privacy on your own device. So that's how it works.
Got
Oh,
it.
yes. And you asked about some examples. Sorry, I pivoted away. So yeah, examples. If you're using Pixel phones, iPhones, right? So your typing habits is predicted. So whenever you type something down, they'll predict your next words, right? So you wouldn't be comfortable if Google tell you actually all your typing in a Pixel phone, I send it over to to the Google Cloud, right? You were like, I don't want to sound like you try to know my secret notes in the in the heart of my phone, right? So yeah, that's what those manufacturers they promoted. That's why they promoted the federated learning to make sure that they can preserve user behavior. Sorry, user privacy.
Got it. Okay. So you are leveraging the community, right, to facilitate the
Yeah.
creation of on-chain, your on-chain decentralized AI models, right? How do you leverage that community?
Yeah, because in many cases, communities don't really want to share the data or they don't necessarily, stay somewhere together. For example, if there's a sub-community of people who are very interested in one very specific comic style character, right? They don't necessarily live together, right? It's hard to actually call them up to drop their data into one place to train a model. So what the way Flock do it is, yeah, we'll just call up a task and then, whoever want to join the training, just join. They don't have to be joining the training in the very beginning. They can join anytime during the training process, as long as they can provide their own insights to the model. They can provide their own they can provide their own improvements to the model, then it's all welcome. And then the whole incentivization process is purely audited on chain, so it's like transparent. It's fair to everyone. That's how we incentivize people to actually join, whatever maybe interest groups they are interested in, and then to co-create models with the community.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about consensus. You were on a panel.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
tried I tried to find the title of the panel on the app, and I can't log into the app anymore. So, what was the name of that title? Of that panel, and what takeaways do you have from that experience?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I also forgot the title of the panel, but I know I was on a panel, yes, on a main stage panel together with Tommy Eastman from Foundry Digital Services, and Greg from Akash, and also Ben from Jensen. So we all doing decentralized AI stuff in different stages or different layers of this industry. So yeah, we had a great chat. I think Jensen and Akash, they all focus on the decentralized GPUs or decentralized computes, where Flock more focus on the training part of it. So we actually already collaborated with Akash because they actually provide their services to public users. So now users on Akash can easily just run a template of Flock and becoming Flock trainers. So yeah, it's great. It was a great conversation. We talked a lot about data privacy, how decentralized AI is changing this comparing to centralized AI. Yeah.
Very cool. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that data, right? Um,
Hmm.
Decentralized AI model training seems to be necessary for industries handling sensitive data that leverages AI, right? What are
Hmm.
some of those industries and what are some of the types of data that you focus on models?
So yeah, we started off with some healthcare industry because believe it or not, to people who don't actually work in healthcare industry, they will feel like healthcare are quite, in terms of technology side, they're quite outdated, right? But no, actually, they've been pitched a lot by federal learning companies in traditional industry, like in everywhere. So yeah, whenever when I first actually reached out to healthcare industry, like they all know, oh, you're doing federal learning. Ah, you are burning on chain. Then there's no central governance. It's like a decentralized governance. That's great. So yeah, seems like everyone at least understand what's federal learning in this industry. So yeah, so that's a heavily used industry, I think, because it's so sensitive and it's so direct that all the regulators will actually put very heavy regulations on such industries, right? And then other places like finance, I mentioned, right? Personal credit data, personal banking data, those things are very sensitive. Like you don't want to send it over to any third party or a random startup telling you that, oh, I'm going to make your life better, but yeah, you have to give me all your bank bills. So you will have to think about it, right? It's not something that you, oh yes, okay, take it. Right? So many of those sensitive things, and also personal assistant, AI assistant. You in order to make a assistant app or assistant model to be very good, you actually have to put every detail of you into that model training. because otherwise it just won't be as good. But in order to do so, right, you have to hand over all your data. That's a dangerous signal, right? So it's like a dilemma in between, whether I want a powerful model or I want to preserve some of my little secrets, but just getting a so-so model, right? So I think Flock here is to just solve this problem. Like you don't have to forfeit any of your privacy, but you can still get a very good model.
So how I'm wondering how you do that, how you end up with a powerful model versus a so-so model, because if you're leveraging the power of the community and the community's not so powerful, then how do you get your your great
Oh, the great. I think the best data, high quality data, are always with the hands of the community, right? Those are the data that never actually put it out as an open domain data, right? Because in the open domain, if a model can run very well in open domain, it will run well on open domain already. But the reason why we don't have this industry specific models now is because we don't have enough data to actually make the model better. For example, it's actually a very trending thing in AI research. We know that Llama 3, right? Yeah, Meta just released Llama 3, which is open source 8 billion large language model. And it actually gave us a very interesting signal that this model is actually very small comparing to what GPT is building, but it trained on 7 times or 7 times larger high quality data sets comparing to other models, then it actually can run as good as a GPT 3.5. So that's a great signal to telling people that actually in this large language model age that we are already facing, high quality data really matters. And those high quality data, it can be anything that you never want to put out on the open domain, right? Because if that thing's already on open domain, I would imagine there will already be open source data, sorry, open source model who train on it already. It's only those user-centric, user private data that can actually, bring the last mile of data and bring the last mile of the AI training, let's say, yeah, to make the AI models, really good.
So you're saying basically, if the large, even though you have these large language models that are gathering information from everywhere, the more specific the data set, the more specific the population, the better signal you get.
Yeah, especially for industry specific ones. Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. So I want to talk about um, the current state of AI industry, and we had a
Yeah.
really great conversation going back to the history of it. That saying, when did this happen? And then there seemed to be some kind of inflection point around the 2016 timeframe where
Oh
Nvidia
yeah.
off and Amazon's price skyrocketed. So there was a correlation there. I wanted to find out what your assessment of the history and the current state is.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think at that time, in consensus, I guess I discussed with you like the end of real human generated data is 2016, right? That was the date, when yeah, that was the date when the first generative AI batches came out, and then 1 year later, Transformer came out, and then in 2018, GPT-1 came out. So basically, that's the timeline where the internet is now maybe flooded with more synthetic data than we actually thought. So if if a model is trained on such you know um, um, open open domain and synthetic data, which has some maybe have some bias on the version 1 of GPT, then version 2 of GPT train on those data, and version 3 of GPT train on those data again. Those biases will be amplified all the way up. That's why I think real human data will be so important and will be so valuable in the future. Data, yeah, I would say, yeah, generate a real generated data. Oh, sorry, I mean real data. Yeah, will be so important in the future because yeah, we will see soon. Like I've already seen some companies doing so. So they basically will use something like a Quora style, but then all the answers and questions are generated. If any question you're asking or searching online, they'll just give you generated answers. But that website is like indexed by Google. So it's basically if there's a new large language model coming today, when they look at all the online data, they basically they will read those data and thought they are human generated data. It's dangerous, right? It's quite a dangerous trend that we're seeing in current stage. And talking about some interesting news, I guess you noticed the story about Apple Intelligence, right? They just launched it in WWDC, I think
Yep.
a week ago. Yes, a week ago. Yeah. So I believe every industry players, all the behavior, sorry, all the industry players, their way of treating privacy, they're all doing the way I just described, trying to make the compute as close as the user, right? Either on your phone or in Apple's way, because iPhone at this stage hasn't been that strong yet to actually run a large language model, right? So they use this private compute cloud, where it's actually your iCloud, but then maybe only a few iClouds that's assigned to you that can run model for you. And then, yeah, that's their answer to the question. So whether if my phone is not strong enough, how can I do this LLM on my own end devices, right? So they bring this private cloud to you, and then everyone's gonna use it. But still, there are still some loopholes, let's say, because you're you wouldn't be assigned to a dedicated server because that doesn't make economic sense for Apple. So basically, many of you are gonna share same cloud together, just with some maybe with some cryptographic methods to make sure your data is locked. Other people's data is separated from yours, but whether this encryption works or whether having a shared cloud somehow is secure enough. It's all remain tested when the real iOS 18 came out later this year, I guess. So yeah, I guess the answer from all this big players in the market is they're all trying to bring compute closer to the user. That's a trend that I'm seeing recently.
NVIDIA is bringing compute to the user as well, right?
Yeah, they are constantly upgrading their graphic cards, right? Several years from now, yeah, maybe your phone can just run as powerful as a 4090 graphic cards of today, right? So it's yeah, that's basically what's happening in the market right now.
Wow. So those are some of the things that are happening, right? There's also limitations, right, of AI in its current state, right? What are some of those limitations?
Oh, yeah. I think limitations for AI is I would very much interested in multimodal the angle of multimodal in AI nowadays because it's quite a cool thing. By multimodal, we mean like for example, if you look at a picture and you ask the AI what's in the picture, or what can you imagine from the picture, all these things. So it involves not only just ability to process picture, or not just ability to use languages, or not just ability to do reasoning. It includes all those abilities together. That's what we call multimodal. I think that's the first thing that I guess currently AI is limiting, but we are seeing some new progresses, and somehow GPT-5 is um, kind of um, kind of like tackling on this multimodal thing, but we have not yet, right? It's still not published yet. The other thing I think is the embody perception thing. Like AI nowadays is still algorithms, right? But when we talk about AI like 10 years ago, well, oh, sorry, 20 years ago, maybe, when everyone talking about AI, they were all thinking about robots, right? Those real robots actually can work with you, be your nanny at home, or treat you, be your cook. So these requires a bit more than just algorithms, right? It still requires engineering work, robotics work that can put a brain of AI into a body that body can actually work and behave like a human. So it's quite a hard thing. It's harder. Um, it's harder than we thought. It's like, for example, Boston Dynamics, they've been in the industry for like 20 years, but their robot is only just running like a baby, right? It still haven't reached the age for adults.
I over the past week and a half, my kids graduated from elementary school and middle school, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I finally put the pictures on Facebook, but I had been hesitant, to do that because of the new age of AI, where people can replicate, people's pictures, right?
Ah, yeah.
So how do you add security for people to this AI age, so that people aren't fearful of, sharing pictures, with
Yeah.
others.
So there are some tricks actually you can beat AI in a technical way. For example, you can always wear a glass that have a red and green lenses, different lenses, red in one side and green on the other side. So that will actually confuse AI. If they want to synthetic a you, then those photos are actually unusable. Or you can actually wear a t-shirt with the head on it, like with the face of someone else or whoever it is. Because on that case, when AI see the photo, they will see there are two heads. Basically, they think this is not a real person. So yeah, so these are the very tricky tricks that many of the engineers, AI engineers in the early days when generative AI came out, right? They put together. So they put together to trick those systems. For example, the face recognition systems, right? They just wearing those glasses or wearing t-shirts like that to actually trick the system. So yeah, this is just a joke. Yeah, joke aside, when it comes to the real content that you're putting online, you're fearing about um yeah, people generating or synthetic or impersonating you, right? Trying to scam others. But yeah, this things happens a lot, and I do see a lot of those things happening recently, right? I remember there was a news. There was like a senior manager, well, there was a scammer who actually impersonated a senior manager of a company and actually got a 1 million away just by, putting up a fake face, AI generated face in a video, Zoom video call. And people just believed it. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. So there are actually ways to detect those. So there are different, I even know some of my friends are running their new protocols, trying to, open up either a new AI startup company or crypto company to do own chain data verification to make sure those are real human generated data. It's not a synthetic. It's not a generated AI thing. So yeah, and in algorithm ways, there are ways to actually detect them. There are always ways to detect them, but you always need to keep up your algorithm. So it's making this. It's just like a race between forgers and police, right? You always have to keep up with it. So maybe some algorithms you used before that can detect forgers, but maybe a week or 2 weeks later, then they have better algorithms. So your police algorithm has to keep up again. It's yeah, it's a race, but I think on the good hands of those engineers, they should be able to always keep up with the best algorithms. Or maybe in the future we will have a standard in the industry saying, okay, all the photos have to pass this standard or pass this algorithm check in order to publish on online, right? So you have your verification check. So yeah, there are solutions. Like there are many people trying to bring solutions to this, and I'm also very excited in this industry as well.
Well, I don't have to worry about somebody using my likeness to steal 1 million because I don't have 1 million. So, um, you know, but but there are risks. There are, risks. So the integration between decentralized systems and AI can mitigate those risks, right? How do you how do you do it? Like to have it through have data harvesting and misuse, and how does that integration help?
I think the very good thing about uh, blockchain is it's unchangeable, right? And everything's transparent on chain. So yeah, so either the point we just talked about, the data authentication, or either about the training, about the malicious attacks, that we can actually rule them out by by the mechanism of blockchain itself. For example, proof of stakes, right? So if you are playing evil, you'll be slushed. If you are playing good, you get some rewards, and then eventually, the bad guys will be ruled out. So all this fundamental functionality of blockchain actually can help AI in a very good way, because in traditional AI, all the training, everything is governed by a central, a centralized entity, right? Either it's a company called Google, or it's someone or some engineers who just build up an algorithm. So it's good, but it's always, not the best way, not the best open way to govern it. So I think with blockchain, this is changing a lot for this industry. That's what the block trying to promote as well.
So let's dive down that a little bit. There have been many projects in crypto recently that have used the word AI
Mm-hmm.
to help boost the price of their project. However,
Okay.
the only thing that they have to do with AI is the fact they put AI on slapped AI on their name, right?
Right. Yeah, I noticed a lot. Yes.
So how do we root those out? And then what
Oh,
is going to be the future of AI and crypto together?
all right. So that's why Flock and other, real breeders in the market, we are actually hosting an event around ECC called we call it Renaissance. It's like in short, Renaissance, but in full, it's like a real non-bluffing AI summit. So it's only just for those builders who actually have their products. So I think, yeah. Back to your question, how to rule them out? I think narratives, nowadays everyone bring huge narratives to their project, right? So they have to deliver. They have to have their real product that can be used. I think that's the golden standard. It's very ironic in Web2 world, right? Having a product that works. It's like a minimum requirement for any company, right? But in Web3, it's like a highest standard already, because many of the projects, they don't have nothing. They just put out a narrative. So I guess, yeah, this is a very important thing. Like for users who trying to either invest or trying to use up those tools, make sure you can, log on to their website, try their products, whether it works in a way that you think it is. And that's a good test for yourself already, right? So your own research. So yeah, that's what I wanna say about it. Yeah, what was the other question? Or
The intersection, like what's
oh
possible
yeah, what's
intersection?
possible? Yes. I think nowadays, even training becomes more possible. So 2 years ago, when we do Flock, I I had a feeling that the doing training from ground up, that sounds like impossible bluffing. So if there are companies still saying they're doing so, I feel like it's a bit too far away. But nowadays, I even see people doing 1.2 billion large language model on their phones, and it works well. So I think, yeah, the age is coming. So if I take it down into like layers, I think 3 layers are the places where this intersection works. So from the top, that's the agent layer, or application layer, right? People who use algorithms to build agents work for them. So AI agents, or even just some NFTs that's generated art. So yeah, you wouldn't say it's not AI. I mean, it actually, yes, used AI to generate art, generate an NFTs, or generated an agent that can help you, maybe wake you up at 5 a.m. in the morning, right? So yes, it's still somehow AI, but they are all on the application layer. But I would say there will be a boom of AI agents soon, in this new cycle, and then maybe there will be some killer apps, because always, consumer apps are always, the closest thing to the users. And then if there are one of those apps that actually, can spread out to the general public widely, then yeah, that'll be a big win in this layer. So in the middle, what we call is the AI layer, or the sophisticated layer. So that's where all those algorithm stuff came in. So like Flock, like many others, or even doing the zero knowledge proofs, doing fully homomorphic encryptions. Yeah, it's all good. Like what they do is they connect with users' data, connect with users' compute, connect with the tasks they want to create, and then they use their own ways to make make sure users' data are preserved, or make sure users' data is authenticated, right? It's real, it's not fake, and then to make the AI model better, right? So using their own frameworks, training frameworks, learning frameworks to make this happen. And then the very bottom layer, basically, as I mentioned, that's just the infrastructure layer. Um, Already some players here, like I mentioned, like Cash Jensen, right, doing decentralized compute. So if you don't want to have all your compute handled by AWS, which is so centralized, and they can be evil as well, right? So you will naturally think about, oh, what if we have decentralized GPUs? It's everywhere in the world. Everyone's maybe home, right? And then they connect to a network, and whenever I want to use it, I can just use it from different networks. By accessing network and accessing different graphic cards, right? It will be way cheaper as well, right? And then apart from compute, there will be storages, data storage. How do I store my data? If I don't want to put them all on my phone, because I only just bought a 128 gig iPhone, right? But my data is like 200. So I can put it somewhere in a decentralized way instead of putting them all maybe in Google's Drive or iCloud. I want to make sure it's decentralized enough, it's well secured. So there are decentralized storage protocols, like in the old days, like Ocean Protocol, right? And then there are new ones, Protocol Labs, IPFS, Arweave, they're all doing this. So yeah, I think basically these three layers are the places where I see the intersection make sense. And many interesting companies, players are actually now in the market very actively.
All right. So I'm trying to envision this. All three levels are working fine. We have decentralized AI. You said we're going to have consumer products. Let's go back to your comment about robots. If
Yeah.
we have if we have decentralized AI infrastructure, everything's in place at that time. Do you think then we will be able to bring those robots into the thing and everybody will have a robot as a pet and it'll no longer
I think the industry is moving very fast, and that's not my specialization, right? It's not where I work in, but from the progresses I saw recently, yeah, it's getting up. It's but if you say by the time, so basically the essence of this question is whether the algorithm side will happen quicker or the robotic side, which I think algorithm side will be quicker, yeah, because nowadays all the sandbox training and everything just like AlphaGo like several years ago, right? So how does AlphaGo learn in such a short period of time? Because machine don't need to stop, machine don't need to sleep, right? It will just give them all the historical data about how people play the game Go, and then it will just learn everything. And then two of the Go agents will play Go with themselves, so that can happen like in humans time, maybe 10,000 years. So basically when human beings are facing AlphaGo algorithm, they are facing someone who played Go for 10,000 years already. So in algorithm, yeah, that's why algorithm progress will always be a bit faster compared to robots, right? When it comes to real robots, you need to test them in real human time, right? It's not something that you can just simulate in an environment in your computer, right? You have to actually build them, and then to actually interact with them to see whether there are bugs or flaws. So yeah, of course, for this robotic stuff, takes a bit more a longer time.
got it. So then that means we're not going to depend on robots. However, people are going to need to learn AI and have the skill set, to be able to build. So how can they best start to get acclimated to developing the skill sets to help build out the AI future?
Oh, I think nowadays, there are already so many different tools out there, right? So I guess, of course, register your account on OpenAI and try out all this AI tools because it's cool, it's fun, and also to see the potential of it. Because I don't think everyone has to be engineer in the future to get a job. There might be, some of them who do computer science and then become engineer to fix AI. Uh, Algorithms in the future, right? But there will also be another bunch of jobs created by AI assisted works, right? So nowadays you probably don't need to create a Microsoft Slides yourself, but you still maybe need to tune the bot or train the bot to make the slides in a distinct art style way that of yours, right? You can use AI, sorry, like GPT to help you do a lot of work, do a lot of jobs, right? But then maybe customization can be as a service, you can provide to other users, right? So yeah, there are many, people will always think like AI gonna take over human beings' jobs and a lot of that, right? But I think it's the other way around, because yes, many of the repetitive jobs will be replaced, but then human intelligence will be deployed to somewhere else, to somewhere even more interesting, right? They can do a lot of other things instead of having to stay on repetitive work, which is not fancy anyways.
It's all fascinating to me, very fascinating. So, yeah, I enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you very much for your time today. This
Thank you,
was
Daniel.
fantastic. I have one last question.
Yeah.
This one's easy, not too provoking. But still, how can people find out more information about you and about Flock?
Oh yeah, just our website, flock.io. So flock.io. That's yeah, exactly it. We put everything online, and then we have our training platform online as well. So now everyone can actually join as a training node to our models. We have tons of models there that you can play with, that you can actually join for training to become a part of this movement of decentralized AI. So yeah, come and join us.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.